Okay, so welcome to our podcast. This is a little bit different today because this podcast is a spin-off of our radio show. Okay, so welcome to our podcast, or our interview, or whatever you want to call it.
Conversation.
Yeah, this is a little bit different today because this podcast is a spin-off of our radio show. The radio show is John Jay and Rich. This is Rich. I'm John Jay. We've been doing the show for about 25 years. Mm-hmm. About a year ago, my doctor and I started our own podcast called The Doctor and the DJ. She's amazing. Okay. She went on vacation, and that's when we knew you were coming. So she couldn't leave. So I asked my partner, Rich, to jump on this podcast. So it's actually
not a doctor.
Not a doctor.
But I do take fish oil.
But I want to start by welcoming you to our podcast.
Thank you.
Krishna Ji, a master, the ONENESS movement.
Yes.
A little background. My wife went to go see you speak yesterday, and she came home. She felt like she was a different person. She said that your energy and everything she learned from you and saw from you changed her life. In fact, when you pulled up here and you saw, she walked out to you in the parking lot and started crying.
Yes.
So what did you do?
Thank you for having me on the show. So wonderful to see you both. What I did was I took her into a beautiful state. My speech, my meditation, and then at the end of the program, I did a diksha where I actually transfer the state of connection and love. I have this unique gift in me from the age of 11 where I can transfer a powerful state into others. It's called diksha.
It's called what again?
Diksha.
Okay.
Diksha is...
And this means?
This means it's a Sanskrit word, and it means that in the ancient times, sages and saints in India could transfer their inner state to others, their powerful inner state.
Okay.
And I got this gift at the age of 11 to do it. And from the age of 11, I've been impacting thousands of people across the world where I meditate and transfer state to them. So yesterday was the state of connection and love. So that has impacted your wife.
How did you find out that you had this power or this gift at 11? What happened?
Well, it was a very transcendental, mystical experience that happened to me with the divine in my heart. And then my father, who is also a spiritual master, told me that, will you be able to transfer this gift to others? So being 11 years old, I didn't question that, I said, let's try it out. And I started to do the diksha process, that is transferring this state to others. And the others could feel it and move into that state and experience that state.
So you're a spiritual master.
Yes.
It's interesting to me, the second you walked in, I did feel an energy shift.
Okay.
And I want to take you back a few days. I was visiting my daughter in New York City. She just started college there. And we hung out all day Saturday, and we were going. At a certain point, I said, I don't know if this affects you or not.
Okay.
But I feel the energy of all the people around us, and I need to take a break because I didn't really ready myself for that onslaught of what 1 million people, or 9 million in this case, in a city feels like. But it can be either empowering or draining. Yes. And she said, I know exactly what you feel like. So I'm wondering, as you walk around, I mean, you spend time in New Delhi, which is also a big city. How do you both protect yourself from maybe the energy that isn't so positive and still be able to give of yourself and pass the positive energy on to people?
See, the way I do it is I'm in the state of positive energy most of the time. I'm in a very transformed, beautiful state. So when I have mastered this art of living in this state. So as I live in this state, the negative energies really do not impact me.
So you can see it, you could recognize it.
I can recognize it, but it doesn't impact me. I can feel it, it doesn't impact me. So I don't get impacted by it.
And how do you show people that live in this negative state how to turn that around for themselves? Is that
you
really
start off with simple meditation practices. We did the soul sync meditation yesterday where your wife was present. That's a very powerful practice where actually your brain is moving from beta state to alpha state. So in beta, your brain is very agitated and is very stressed out. In alpha, you're more calm, more quiet, more concentrated, which means your energy will change. As you meditate and transform your brain, your energies are changing. So today science tells us that the highest brain frequency is gamma, which is a state of oneness. So science is proving people that yes, it is possible for human beings to move to a state of oneness and be in that state. But you start with alpha. So there are 5 different brain frequencies: beta, alpha, theta, delta, and gamma. So the soul sync meditation helps do that. So when your brain state changes, your mind changes, your consciousness changes, everything changes, and you are in this beautiful state. So you can start with meditations, which help you get there. But later on, you should take a spiritual journey to go deeper into understanding where this negative energy is.
Journey. What is an example of a spiritual journey?
A spiritual journey is where you are learning to live in a beautiful state. See, I go around the world, both me and my wife, Shri Preetaji, we teach people a very important teaching, that every one of us are only living in 2 states. There is no third inner state we experience our life from. It's either a suffering state or a no suffering state. Suffering state being stress, anxiety, irritation, frustration, fear, insecurity, loneliness, depression. All these are suffering
All the killers.
states. All the killers. Or beautiful states like peace, calm, love, connection, gratitude, courage. All these are beautiful states. And then in the spectrum of no suffering states, you have the transcendental states and the highest being enlightened states. But you start with the beautiful states. So we go around people teaching how you shift yourself from a suffering state to a beautiful state by applying teachings, wisdom, so that it becomes part of your DNA. So initially you start with the practice, but later on you actually learn to live in a beautiful state. It's like a shadow that's following you everywhere. And once you learn to live in that state, your life is beautiful.
So if you have a job like him and I have a job, and sometimes it gets stressful.
Yes.
If we have meetings in the afternoon or later, there's a way for us to live in a non-suffering state and just enjoy the meeting.
Absolutely. That's the way you have to, right?
Right.
Why should you suffer? You
So
don't need
how
to
do
suffer.
how do you do that? How can we?
Stage 1. We need stage 1.
Like I'm just trying to think of maybe you have to consciously say, okay, I'm going to be in a beautiful state now. Bring it on. Is it like
No,
that?
it's not like that.
No?
You can start off with a simple practice called the serene mind practice. It's a 3 minutes practice that you do. You can do it multiple number of times. So whenever you feel stressed, you do this practice. And then after you do that practice, you move into a beautiful state.
It's a 3-minute practice. Is it
3-minute
deep
practice.
breathing?
Yes, it involves deep breathing. It involves identifying your emotion and naming that emotion. So you breathe in and breathe out 3 times. And after that, you identify the emotion that is troubling you. You name that emotion. If it is anger, you name it as anger. If it's fear, you name it as fear.
Anxiety, fear. It could be more than one.
More than one.
Okay.
You name it. And then you observe whether you are obsessing about the past, or you are having a chaotic future projection, or are you in the present? You just observe that.
Is there a time frame to do it before?
Nothing. Whenever you feel stressed, whenever you feel irritated.
You can
not
do
just
it-
a meeting, just
Not
anywhere.
just a
But
meeting.
you could do
Anywhere,
it
anytime.
in the car.
But I could
In
do
the
it.
car.
I could do it at 4 a.m. anticipating a 3 p.m. meeting
You do it when you feel stressed.
when you feel stressed.
Yeah. For 4 a.m., you do the soul sync meditation, which is a 12 minutes practice. That you do once a day.
Okay.
So serene mind is a practice you do when you feel stress. You take 2 to 3 minutes off. You do this meditation and come out of the stress and move into a beautiful state and then get into your meeting. Okay. But soul sync meditation is a meditation that you do every day to transform your brain.
I want to jump back to that in a second, but I want to get back to a little bit of what you offer or how people, from what I've heard, I don't like to do a lot of research. I like to just gather information as I live and then repurpose it. I know that, I believe, if I'm right, Tony Robbins has stayed with you.
Yes.
Ian, my friend Ian, has stayed with you.
Yes.
And it's much like people get very excited for Justin Bieber.
Yes.
I get excited for Tony Robbins.
Yes.
I get very excited to meet you because of your Tony Robbins connection.
Yes.
And Ian and I were at West Palm Beach and we went to a Tony Robbins seminar.
Oh, beautiful.
There were thousands of people. There was 2016, I think, right? Probably 2016.
Yes.
And Tony Robbins starts telling us about this wonderful place that he lived in India for a while and he studied under the gurus.
Yes.
And he talked about the blessing.
Yes.
And he gave everybody in the room the blessing.
Yes.
And I mean, there were thousands of people there. So I felt that, would it be as powerful giving the blessing to thousands of people, or is it better to do it one-on-one? Anyway, he gave us all the blessing.
Yes.
And it was amazing.
Yes.
Goosebumps and everything. And Ian and I have been pretty much blood brothers ever since, right?
Yes.
So cut to, I do remember Tony Robbins telling the story also, that one other person was allowed to give the blessing.
Yes.
And it was the drummer for the band Def Leppard.
Rick Allen?
Rick Allen.
Yes.
Could you tell us the story of Tony Robbins and Rick Allen? And then I have a part 2 to that.
Yes. See, the blessing is basically a diksha. So the diksha that was born from me at the age of 11. So Tony Robbins received the diksha from me. So for the West, we named it the blessing to make it more understandable and more easy. So what he transferred to you is a gift that he received from me many, many years ago. Same thing happened to Ricky Allen. Ricky Allen has received it from somebody else. So what I do is I also initiate people into blessing givers. So you can come to our event, go through our journey, and then you also become a blessing giver, whereby you can transfer this blessing to others.
That sounds beautiful.
Yes. So that is the gift Tony has, and it's beautifully being shared with the world through him.
So Rich and I do a radio show, and we had a huge festival in Las Vegas with many different acts.
Yes.
And one of the acts was Def Leppard. And I didn't care about any, we were there to work for 3 days.
Yes.
And I said, all I want is a meeting with Rick Allen.
Okay.
Right? So I got all the access passes. He was in his dressing room, security guard in the front door. He's standing there. And I go, I have my pass. And I said, I'd like to talk to Rick Allen, please. And the security guard said, what about? And Rick's standing there. He turns around and I go, I want to talk to you about the blessing.
Okay.
And he turns around, having goosebumps. He taps the security guard. And he goes, let him. So he met me. We talked for a little bit. We went outside in the hallway. And I have video of this whole thing happening. He gave me the blessing in the hallway in the backstage area at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Like, so I remember I called Ian right away. I sent him pictures of video. I go, I just got the blessing. I got the blessing.
How's life been since then?
It's been fantastic.
Good.
Ever since the Tony, our lives have changed so much since the Tony Robbins meeting. Ian and I went to, and then personally in our lives, my wife and my kids, it's been great. And so I'm so fascinated by this blessing. And I think it'd be great if we could get a blessing from you at some point during this podcast to do it. But
definitely,
right?
Yes.
That sounds amazing.
You freaking out about the blessing?
Of course.
I'll have to show you.
That's the only thing you pursued.
Yeah, that's it. It was amazing.
Sure. Whenever you want.
I was reading something that is a quote of yours.
Yes.
That I think kind of encapsulates what you do, and I think it's so beautiful. You said every day spent with suffering is a wasted day, and every day lived in a beautiful state is a life truly well lived.
Yes.
And that seems like your entire mission.
Yes.
And do you ever have bad days where you just don't want to get out of bed, or maybe the room service got something wrong that you? How do you keep that stuff that kind of weighs the most of us down?
Yes.
How do you not let that affect you?
I do have challenging days and challenging times, problems. These come along being part of this world and doing what you're doing. All this is part of your life. But I apply the teachings, I live my teachings, and I don't allow myself to move into suffering.
You catch yourself.
I catch it very early, and I am gifted to be in this enlightened state for a very long time now. It's part of me, it's part of my cell, it's part of my body, so it's very easy for me to be in that state. But the most important thing is whatever we teach is something that we practice and we live. So I catch it very early, and I come out of suffering within a few seconds. So I don't spend time in suffering too long. I don't go into suffering too deep.
How much of it is perspective that I'm in a pretty good place? That shouldn't really bother me.
Perspective doesn't work.
Doesn't?
It doesn't work.
Okay,
if perspectives work, everybody should be free of the suffering. It doesn't happen.
Okay. Yeah. So it's not like, we have to walk into a terrible meeting. Like, okay, but we still have good lives. That's not what you're talking about.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay, you're talking about going in there going like,
yes,
I'm not going to let the shrapnel get on me.
Yes, and I observe what is causing that suffering, So I have the teachings to observe what is causing the suffering. I go to the root of it. And this entire process, I can do it in a few seconds. And that's the gift I want to share to the world, where the world also can do it in a few seconds and come out of the suffering. Because if you look at the entire purpose of every one of us, right? It's ultimately to be happy. You're doing what you're doing to be happy. Sure. You're doing this podcast to make others happy. Everybody's working every day very hard to be happy, ultimately. That's the purpose. That's why, we have families, we have systems, we have everything. The wealth creation, the work we go for, the businesses we do. Everything is ultimately seeking that fulfillment, that happiness.
Do you think you have to fight for that joy?
No, you don't need to fight. You just need to move inwards. You're going in the wrong direction to find that joy. You're going outwards to find that joy. It's not going to be found out in the outer world. So for me, there are two worlds, the inner world and the outer world. Now, we as humanity have mastered the outer world. We have not yet mastered the inner world. We need to take the journey inside to master the inner world. To
How do we do that?
By starting a journey with me.
Let's start it.
Let's start it.
Give us a peek. Give us something.
Please come to our events. Yeah, come
come
as
to
my
your
guest.
events?
Yes, come.
Because you have an event in Los Angeles
Tomorrow, yes.
for 4 days.
For 4 days.
And who are the people there that anybody can go to that event?
Anybody can go to that event, absolutely.
And then you go from there to New York?
Yes. It's a field of awakening, and it's 3 different field of awakenings. So the next one that happens in New York is a different one. So, but then you come from there to Sweden, to our center in Sweden.
Sweden. That's Sweden.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So we have a center very close to Copenhagen. You
So
come for the deeper journey
Eckham
there.
is the name of your
Ekam is the place where the meditation center is. The main center in India is.
yeah in
And
India.
that's in India, and that's the center for enlightenment.
That's where Tony Robbins went?
Yes, that's where he
where Rick
came for the
Allen went?
opening. Yes, he was.
So did he
and his
live there
wife.
for a couple of weeks?
Yes, he was there. He has visited quite a number of times, and every time he comes, at least for a week, a minimum. That
Do
he
you
stays
ever
there.
reach out to him? Hey, how are
Yes.
things?
Not recently, but in the past, yes.
And how many people do you expect to show up in Sweden?
In Sweden, we have a center for 150 people. So every program we do is for 150 people.
And that if people go there, it involves food,
Everything,
hotel.
accommodation, food. It's a beautiful center.
When you talk about suffering, though, what about is this out of the realm when you're fighting disease and stuff, or is that all can that be controlled mentally?
See, suffering is emotional. Disease is physical.
Okay.
So they're 2 different things. So we in fact tell people that when you are having a physical problem, you don't need to suffer. But for that you need to grow spiritually. So for example, there is a person right now who has attended one of my courses and has been directed with cancer in the brain and has been operated. But this person wrote a message saying that please inform Krishnaji that I'm not suffering. While people around me are in suffering, since I've gone through the journey, I am seeing this as a problem and addressing this as a problem. I am not suffering. So he's not in stress, he's not in anxiety, but he is calm and quiet. And the operation went extremely well and looks like he'll be cured completely.
Wow.
Yes.
But when you say suffering, though, I mean, isn't suffering like sometimes you suffer because the end goal is happiness? Like exercise.
See,
I think exercise is suffering.
exercise is pain, physical
Yeah,
pain, right? Pain is different from suffering.
It is.
Yes. So
You're going back to emotional. Then.
yes, suffering is emotional.
So-
Okay, exercise pain is physical.
Physical. Exactly.
Is suffering genetic?
Yes, it is genetic for the entire humanity, just
Yeah.
not for one person. It's something that's being transferred from one generation to another generation.
Oh, does it go back many generations?
Many generations. Today,
does.
science tells us at least it's going back 3 generations. So it goes back to our parents, grandparents, and great grandparents.
So you really are breaking a cycle of suffering when you
Yes.
when you go inward
Yes.
and say, okay, well, this is not going to hit me the way
Yes.
it hit my father and my father's father.
Yes.
Like we're making the change here. You
Yes,
could
and
do
you're
that for your children too.
Absolutely. That's the key. You're making a change for yourself and you're making the change for your children.
Don't you feel lighter just saying that? Even
Beautiful. That's
Yeah.
the great work, so that the information that's being passed on to the next generation is a more beautiful information than a suffering information,
what do we get? What do we get right here in America when it comes to going to a place of trying to get where things don't affect you? I mean, for me, it's listening to music.
Yes.
When I'm in my spot, sitting in my house, it's like I feel like I'm inside the song and nothing could be wrong because everything's right.
Yes.
So what if you don't have that, that ability to sit in your music or whatever it is? What do you tell people to, I don't know, focus on or use? Because sometimes those voices in our head can loop pretty loud, right?
See, the voices in our head will always be there. And people do different things to escape those voices. So music is one form. Dance could be another form. Exercise could be one form. Running could be another form. But ultimately, you have to become comfortable with these voices. And the voices must change. So the music must change in your head, Okay. So how do you change that music? Right now, the music is stress, anxiety, fear, insecurity. How do we change that to love, connection, gratitude? If that music changes, you will enjoy it.
Yes.
There's no problem. Right now, you're worried with it. You don't like it because it's a music that is not beautiful. It's a music that's causing you suffering. It's a music that's painful. So once you change that music, you're comfortable with the music. So there's no way you can avoid the music. You have to change the music in your head.
Are you happy right now?
I'm very happy.
Are you always happy?
Most of the time I'm happy, yes.
Are you seem even, are there moments where you're very happy or are you never sad, never
Very happy is excitement.
Okay. When was the last time you got excited?
Excited coming now to you.
God,
This is you being excited.
Yes. No, driving and coming to you and being in this podcast.
No, I'm very glad you're here, and I had very much a lot of anxiety to interview you. I did.
Okay.
I did, and I'm at peace right now talking to you. I feel good. I'm looking at my wife; she's happy. I'm looking at my friend; he's happy.
Yes.
My partner's happy.
Yes.
Seeing you smile, I mean, there is definitely some joy in the room, right?
isn't there something to be said? I mean,
Yes.
you would probably be able to tell us more than anybody. When you have that happiness and when you have that joy, this life, whatever this is
Yes.
a pretty incredible place
Absolutely.
to be.
Absolutely.
And I know, I mean, I'm sure a lot of us have been to places where you don't have that and you
Yes.
feel like you can't even get content for a second. And that is a hard place to be.
Yes.
And making that switch, which when you tell people just that one spot where they can start. So if somebody's watching this or listening to this
Yes.
and they're feeling like that, that endless loop of panic
Yes.
in their mind,
Yes.
if you were with them at this moment, where would you tell them to start to begin to stop that?
I would start with the serene mind practice. That's where I will start, and for them to realize that that we are having this beautiful Mother Earth with us, out of this billions of galaxies that's present, and we have this beautiful opportunity to have a beautiful life here. And I think that realization that this is the only home we have, and we should be extremely satisfied that we are in this home, in this beautiful home with beautiful people. And we have to make sure that this home is available to the next generations in a beautiful way, not in a way that is going to be painful and struggling for the next generations. So I think that's where every one of us have to start connecting to Mother Earth and feeling that what a blessing it is to be here, to be alive, and to have this experience. You can travel wherever you want. You can eat what you want to eat. So many varieties of food, and everything is coming from Mother Earth, right? So to feel that sense of gratitude and connection, I think it'll be a great place to start.
Have you met with world leaders?
Yes, I have.
You have, and
Yes.
wow.
Yes.
Who have you met with?
I can't reveal the names.
You can't reveal the name?
Yeah, because
Oh.
but I have met with leaders from different parts of the world, celebrities, business leaders.
They ask you to come and talk to them about
Yes.
many things, or specifically the blessing. Does that?
It'll be the blessing, definitely. And it'll also be understanding the teachings and learning to live in a beautiful state. So some of them have come to me, to India, to spend some time with me. I do what is called a very personal process where it's a one-on-one with me. That's what even Tony Robbins went through, where you spend the time with me for 6 days to 10 days, and I take them through a journey of transformation.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I see it in my friend Ian. He spent
Yes.
2 weeks with you?
He spent 4 weeks.
4 weeks with you?
Yes.
He looks so
He
peaceful to
looks
me.
like a different human being.
It's
His
like a
whole
baby little
vibe.
deer. Like
He's still
a-
handsome, but still, there's a whole. I mean, my wife was with you for a few hours yesterday and came back
Yes.
very enlightened with a glow. And she said to me that I'm in her heart. And I thought I was in your heart already. And she goes, now you're in my
Not
heart.
before, but now.
Yeah.
Yes, yesterday in the process.
Yes. So could we do the blessing? Could we? How could we do that here? Could you do it? Is that something we could do?
I can do it after the podcast for you.
You could.
Yes, I will do it. Yes.
I would love that. Would you love that?
Yeah, and if the people that are watching can receive it as well, just
Is that how it works? Or
Okay, we can do that. Yes.
even if they don't watch it, screw them.
Yes. Yes.
They're suffering. Let them suffer. This is this would be incredible.
how do we prepare ourselves for the blessing?
Nothing. You just close your eyes and please please close your eyes.
You guys want to come sit on here to be on the blessing? Does that work for you? That would be incredible.
Yes.
Do you want them on this side so they're not
Like wherever you want.
messing with cameras? Okay.
Never turn down a blessing. My
How's
friend
this
Ian,
guy?
for the podcast? My friend Ian.
Ian's a spiritual gangster.
Okay, what do we do? This?
Yes.
Okay.
Place your palms on your thighs. Yes. Yes. You can either face it upwards or downwards, no problem. Close your eyes. Bring your attention to your breath. And as you inhale, bring your attention. And as you exhale, bring your attention. And let the exhalation be longer than your inhalations. Do this for 3 times. Now, in your heart, think of one thing that you desire for and hold the desire in your heart as an intention. And now we'll be moving into blessings. In this blessing, I will be transferring the state of connection to all of you, a deep sense of love. It can be experienced as love, appreciation, gratitude. Keep your attention at your heart region. Slowly bring back your attention to your breath. Bring a gentle smile to your face. You can open your eyes. Slowly bring your attention back to your breath. bring a gentle smile on your face. And whenever you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes.
That's very special. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So, someone's watching this podcast or listening to this podcast. What's the best way to follow you? Social media?
Yes, social media.
Oneness movement?
The Oneness movement, yes.
I started following you.
Yes.
There's YouTube as well, yeah?
YouTube as well.
I saw that today. I hit the subscribe button right away.
There is also the Breathing Room app, which is for meditations. And to start meditations, someone can even get there.
Oh, it's your app?
Breathing Room.
Oh, Breathing Room app.
Breathing Room
that's
app.
your app?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yes.
I did find myself literally just thinking about my breath and really nothing else
Yes.
when that was happening.
Yes.
When normally I try to do that on my own. I have 1,000 thoughts going through my head. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I was meditating. But when we were just doing it, I was just thinking about the breath
Beautiful. Yes.
itself. It was really refreshing, actually.
I as I'm being as open as I can with you, is like I was trying to do the blessing 100%, but also what about like my mind felt like it was going a million, like I was like, I have this special moment here with you.
Yes.
How, and you said, you know, set your intention, and it was like a movie in my head of like all these things I want. They're not physical things,
Yes.
tangible things. They're happiness, health for my family.
Yes.
Kids have a careers and
Yes.
future. But it was like a movie, like
Yes.
like fast forward.
Yes.
Is that okay?
That's perfectly okay.
Okay, good.
That's perfect.
Am I not allowed to tell you that? Like it won't come true? Like if you make a wish and blow out a candle,
It comes true when you tell me.
it comes true when I tell you. Yes. You're amazing.
Yes.
You do have a very contagious, powerful smile and a great spirit about you.
Oh, yes.
Do you exercise? Do you do yoga?
Yes, I do yoga every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Every day.
Any kind of, is it like,
Surya Namaskar.
oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah, it's a simple yoga, and I do like 15 sets a day. Yeah, that's it. And of course, meditation is part of my life. Every program I meditate for many hours.
So on a typical day,
Yes.
how long will you sit in silence, just sharpening your brain by clearing it of thought?
See, if you're thinking about state as a silence, 80% of the day I'm in that state.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But I can, in a meditation, move into a very high state of oneness, where I'm actually in an enlightened state. That I can be 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I can keep meditating.
You're probably not surprised when you see the studies from Western medicine when they study a master like yourself meditating, and they put
Yes, I'm not.
they show the brain waves
Yes.
change.
We have that lab with us.
I'm sure, and it's really
so.
quite
In fact,
amazing.
we do this test on people who are coming to our programs, and we show them that when they enter, they're actually having beta and high beta, brain frequency. And the third day into the program, you see them in theta, and fourth day, fifth day into the program, you actually see the brain emitting gamma waves, which is enlightened state.
So the brain likes to be.
So you do that to everybody that stays in
We
India?
select people, yes.
Oh.
Let's say we have 500 people in the program. We select like 20 people and do tests on them.
You'll have 500 people in the program physically in India?
Yes, yes,
Staying at your
yes,
place?
yes.
So is it a hotel? Is it
No, it's a center. It's a
center?
physical center.
It's beautiful looking. I've seen the
with
pictures.
rooms for people
With rooms, with accommodations. We can accommodate at any given point of
You got a
time.
Starbucks in there?
No
many
Starbucks, but you have excellent Indian coffee.
how many people can stay there at one time?
3,500.
3,500?
Yes.
Are there people there now?
Not now. They'll be
Because
coming
you're
in.
here,
Because
so-
I'm here. They're coming in November. So I have a batch of people coming in November and then December.
Like if my wife and I wanted to go, it's a minimum, it's 6 days?
Yes, 6 days.
That would
Yes.
be really, she's been to India before.
Yes.
She loves
Yes,
it.
you can come to a Oneness Abundance Festival in December. It's a festival that I do for wealth creation. So it's in December for 6 days. But wealth creation to a transformed state of consciousness.
In India?
In India. Wow. So please come as guests. Please be my guest and come.
That's an interesting-
Yes, come.
Wow.
Come.
December when to when?
December 5th to the 11th.
5th to 11th.
Yeah.
Is it
Or
easier?
I think it's December 11th to the 16th. December 11th to the 16th. Yes. Yes.
Man,
6
I gotta-
days. Come.
Thank you.
Sorry?
You were starting to say something there that I think is probably a good thing for people to think about. So I didn't miss what you
Yes,
said.
I was saying that we go into wealth creation, and the
Yes.
typical understanding of wealth creation is through education, through connections, through your skills, right? But here we do a very unique process where it's through a transformed state of consciousness.
Sure.
So
That
how to-
makes sense because
yes,
you
how-
can't make money if you're in a state of
Yes,
like you're going to
exactly.
watch it go right through your fingers.
Exactly.
Right?
And there's this understanding, right, that you need fear to be successful, you need anger to be successful, you need all these states to be successful, but you don't need the states. It'll ultimately destroy you. What you need is a beautiful, powerful inner state. So we take people through actually cleansing these states in your
All
consciousness.
those things that sabotage
That
yourself.
sabotage yourself, exactly.
You mean like doubt?
Doubt, fear,
Anger.
insecurity, all these things. And we take you through a special process called the samskara shuddhi. Samskara means traits that come to you from your previous generations. So this space has this unique power to make those revelations happen to you in your consciousness. And you find out why you have these traits in you. Like there was a very interesting gentleman, who's a participant from New York. He's a billionaire, but though he's a billionaire, he was always in fear. Didn't understand why I'm in fear, because I have money, I have a beautiful home in Miami, I have everything. But why am I in fear? So when he went through this process, he understood that it came from his grandparents, who lived during very tough times in Burma. And they moved into tremendous fear, and that information of fear got passed on. And for no reason, though his life is super comfortable now, he still feels fear. And he doesn't understand why he has this fear. So he got liberated from that fear when he went through this journey, and now he's in a beautiful state enjoying life. There's no more fear around wealth, no more fear around whether it'll stay, it'll go away. Nothing like that.
You don't really need all these things, these like houses and cars and stuff to have happiness, correct?
Absolutely no. Yeah.
But money does help,
Money helps for comfort,
right? For
for
comfort.
leisure, and yeah. And to have the pleasures of life, but not happiness. Pleasure is different.
Pleasures are different than happiness.
Yes.
You have a book out as well.
Yes, the 4 sacred secrets.
The 4 Sacred Secrets. Have we discussed any of those 4 sacred secrets on this podcast?
Not really. We just discussed the beautiful state alone.
Okay.
Yes,
Should we, before we let you go, should we know what those?
I
Those
don't
are-
think so. I remember.
That's a lot.
That's
Give
a
me-
lot, yeah.
You want me to grab the book and
Yes, I
we'll
think-
cover it later.
yes, I think so.
But there's 4 sacred ones. They're in the book, and we should know
They're
those.
there. Yes,
Got it.
yes. I do know the other one, which is a spiritual vision.
Ah,
Yeah, spiritual vision is a vision you hold for your inner state. So we have vision for our life, for whom to marry, what kind of job we want to do, where we want to go, but we don't have a vision for our inner state. So spiritual vision is about having that beautiful vision for a beautiful inner state.
Do
That's
you
the
have-
second secret.
Sorry.
Yes.
Do you have enemies?
Might have. I don't know.
So you don't wake up in the morning thinking, or there's not people that you have anger towards
No, I don't have anger towards.
or competition.
No, I don't. I know that my life is going to be fantastic if I live these teachings and if I live in that state. So
Yeah, I have to get to that point because I have like competitors that I want to see them crash into a pole. I told my wife, I go, all I want to do is make him laugh
yes,
one time.
yes.
Make him laugh one time. That's my blessing. That's my blessing to you. Take it,
kid.
Take it. Write a book about it. Anyway, thank you so much,
Oh,
Krishna,
yes.
for being
It was,
here. Thank you so
it was
much.
such a joy to be
Thank
with
you.
both of you. Thank you.